My fiance and I are planning our wedding. She comes from a large family. She has 5 sisters and most of them have kids. 4 of her sisters are her bridesmaids and one serves as a maid of honor. I come from a smaller family, just my parents, my sister, and my niece, Bryn. Bryn is a toddler and pretty much my best pal. I'm her godfather. I love her to bits. I didn't care when my fiance didn't choose my sister to be a bridesmaid. Likewise, my sister was cool with it. However, I did feel something because I have all 4 of my fiance's brothers-in-law in my wedding party at my fiance's request. But ultimately, it's her side of the party. She can do what she wants. Then it came time to pick the younger roles in the wedding. Her older nephews are junior groomsmen. The younger is her ring bearer. She only has one niece, Aubrey, who's a year older than my niece. My fiance wants her to be the flower girl. I said that's fine, but I also want Bryn to be one, so they can walk down the aisle together. It'd be super cute. Bryn loves playing with Aubrey, so they get along. My fiance says she wants our wedding to be traditional, so there can only be one flower girl. I suggested Bryn could hold a sign or something while Aubrey threw flowers. My fiance said no, she could sit with my sister and parents. At this point, I insisted and said Bryn would be the flower girl. I texted my sister and asked, and she agreed. My fiance got angry, and I said it's my day too. Bryn means a great deal to me and she'll be in the wedding. My fiance and Aubrey's mom are mad at me, saying I'm stealing Aubrey's spotlight. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Just an observation. Your fiance sees this as her wedding, not our wedding. Honestly, if it were me, and I'm maybe just way too petty, I would tell her that Bryn is in as co-flower girl, or none of your fiance's brother-in-laws or groomsmen. Just replace them with friends or co-workers. But again, just an observation. If this is your fiance's reaction, good luck, buddy. For real, she already took over both halves of the bridal party, so the least she could do is give him a co-flower girl. Having only one flower girl is not a requirement of a traditional wedding. Many weddings have had more than one for a very, very long time. Long story short, they're being ridiculous. I also think she's being unfair, as this is supposed to be a celebration of you both, not her family, but you seem to be the one doing all the compromising. Patio for traditional. It's not. Traditionally, you'd have multiple flower girls. Having multiple child attendants was a sign of wealth and nobility. That started becoming less common in the Victorian period, solely in the lower class because of poverty. That's where your traditional argument comes from. Do you know what's not traditional? Junior groomsmen. Have as many people in your wedding party as you want and can afford. OP, do consider how this lack of willingness or compromise or even reason will impact everything in the future. These are red flags for sure. Traditionally, it's prevalent to get premarital counseling. Consider it, because I sense that if you two did get such counseling, there would be many more issues uncovered. Update. Am I the idiot for insisting my niece is a co-flower girl with my fiance's niece? Thank you to everyone who reached out. This morning, my fiance and I sat down to talk about the wedding in general. I brought up Bryn and Aubrey. My fiance kept parroting, "It's tradition. Let Aubrey have the spotlight." She shot down compromise after compromise. Aubrey walks first. Bryn blows bubbles or holds a sign, etc. Finally, my fiance was honest. She doesn't want Bryn in our wedding because Bryn has Down syndrome. She said everyone would be looking at her, taking pity, etc. It turns out it wasn't about a spotlight on Aubrey, but my fiance. I told her to screw herself, called her ableist, and said, "Don't worry, there won't be a spotlight to steal anymore because there's no wedding." I've left our apartment, staying at my sister's and playing with Bryn. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from my fiance and her family. Magically, she's ready to compromise now. I need time, but I'm likely done. You all were right. Wow, just wow. I have a cousin with Down syndrome, and she is the most wonderful kid, and she's brought so much joy to our family. I would view it as a deal breaker if my future spouse said something like this. I'm so sorry and could not imagine how heartbreaking this is for you. But I think you've made the right decision, and thank God you found out about her true character now, before you got married. There are plenty of women who wouldn't have any problem with 2 or more little flower girls, so everyone is included, but also would never reject someone with any sort of disability. I, 25 female, am getting married. My fiance, 25 male, and I decided on a dry wedding since we don't drink and see no point in spending money on alcohol. We were debating about getting a cash bar, but decided on no alcohol. There will be a wide range of other drinks, not just juice and soda provided. We informed our guests via invitation saying, you don't have to be worried about choosing a driver or paying for a taxi since everybody will be able to drive. So a friend, 26 male, called me and asked if I was joking about the dry wedding. I denied it. He asked 2 more times and I still denied joking. Then he asked what was wrong with me, how's anyone supposed to have fun without drinks, and how he should function that night, and that it was not all right to choose a dry wedding. This is where I might have been the idiot. I told him that I wasn't obligated to provide alcohol because he couldn't have fun without it, and that if he needs it so badly and can't function without it for even one night with people he knows, he might be having a problem and should consider therapy to treat it. He flipped out on me, and I took his invitation back until he apologized because he used many slurs against me. Our friends are divided about me being the idiot. Some say I was right, others say I wasn't right. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I think it's bizarre that so many people seem to think you're in the wrong here. Alcohol culture is so dangerous and so normalized. It's your wedding, your money, so it's your call anyway. And yes, if someone can't go an evening without a drink, likely they have a problem. It hurts to hear someone call you out when you're in active addiction, but that doesn't make you an idiot. Again, speaking from personal experience, I wish more people had expressed concern or challenged me about my consumption when I was drinking every day. He has every right to think it's boring. He has every right not to attend. He has zero right to demand answers to how am I supposed to have fun, as if you're planning his birthday party. He has zero right to ask what's wrong with you for throwing a wedding based on what you want. It's no different to destination weddings, potluck weddings, vegetarian weddings, child-free weddings, etc. Of course, some people will think, oh, screw that, and that's fine. They just don't get to make demands of the couple getting married. It is worrisome that someone would be that horrified by the idea of having to socialize sober for one evening, and you didn't suggest that he had a problem until he badgered you about your decision not to serve drinks. Guests don't get to dictate what's provided at a wedding. They also have the right to decline the invitation without being weird about it. My daughter is on the more severe end of celiac. Any cross-contamination would set her back for weeks. It has taken us years to get her properly diagnosed and treated, and as a tween, she's now underweight and has severe anxiety about food. She will not eat if she feels it's unsafe, and it's hard for me to blame her. Our house has both a kitchen and a kitchenette in the basement, complete with full sets of pans and utensils. Our main rule for the home is that there is no dairy, gluten, or seafood to be kept or cooked in the kitchen. Our older son is allergic to seafood, and my wife is lactose intolerant, so the kitchenette is for items containing those ingredients. My sister and her kids have had to move in with us for personal reasons. They live in the basement bedrooms, and we very clearly explained this rule to them and why when they moved in. We found a box of pasta in the kitchen in less than a week. We explained the rule and moved it, and she was apologetic. A month later, my daughter came to us in a panic because my sister was making fried chicken in the kitchen. My sister was apologetic, but insisted she needed to because the kitchenette was too small. It felt harsh, but we moved all the food to the basement, threw out every single pan and utensil she may have used, and deep cleaned the kitchen. These incidents making the kitchen no longer 100% guaranteed safe has made her regress in therapy. We're working on it, but unfortunately, it's so bad that we have to feed her exclusively takeout from the one gluten-free restaurant around, unless we want her in inpatient care. Which takes us to last Sunday. I got home and my daughter had the worst panic attack ever. My mom and sister were in the kitchen making an entire Sunday dinner. Spaghetti, mozzarella sticks, garlic bread, the works. I lost it. I ended up screaming at them, that they were ruining my life and threatening my daughter's life for the last time, and I had it. I threw all the food out into the yard and told my sister that if she cared that little about her own niece's life, she could get out of my house. Now my mom is mad at me for kicking my sister and her kids out when they're vulnerable over a food allergy, but I don't care. She can even leave the kids here if she needs to, but I'm done with her. We have one rule. One. My wife agrees with me, but thinks I should give her one last chance and just not allow my sister to bring any food into the house. My mom can't take her in, and she can't afford rent anywhere, so she would be homeless if we didn't let her stay. I'm not sure I'm in the wrong here. Not the idiot. Your daughter has a severe allergy, and you explained this to your sister, who seems not to understand her actions' consequences. The first time, okay, fine, she forgot. Second time, okay, I guess, but the kitchenette being too small is a bad excuse. The third time she cooks an entire gluten-heavy dinner with dairy, you're within your rights to lose it and kick them out. 3 strikes and you're out. It's your house, your rules. If they can't follow them, then they can find somewhere else to live. After watching you deep clean your kitchen once already because of her actions, your sister decided apparently it wasn't that big of a deal, you'd just do it again? Your sister got her uncaring and self-absorbed personality from your mother, so I'd let them figure out how to resolve the consequences of their actions. This isn't a food allergy. This is as good as playing Russian roulette with your daughter's life. Your mother bears a much larger part of the blame because she knew what was happening and ignored it. Your mother might be narcissistic because she's gaslighting you and dismissing the food allergy. Possibly your mother should consider some time away too. Sister-in-law and I never truly got along. The reason is that we have different mindsets regarding how we live our lives. And while I'm respectful or indifferent about her life choices, she's always trying to impose her beliefs and preferences on me and my fiance, her brother. My fiance and I, 26 male and 26 female, have been together for 7 years, and we have a very loving relationship. He proposed 6 months ago, and I started wedding planning 3 months ago. We have a very loving relationship with great communication, and we still go on dates and like to dress up. We join activities and hobbies together, and overall, our relationship hasn't changed, and we haven't stopped loving each other more and more. Sister-in-law, on the other hand, has a different mindset. She was married, and her marriage was the kind of marriage where they brag about how much they hate and can't stand each other. She'd also mock me and my fiance's relationship the entire time and call our dates, dressing up, and our hobbies BS, claimed we do it for attention and don't truly love each other, and said how she couldn't wait till we end up hating each other too in the future. She and her husband filed for divorce 2 months ago, and I honestly am indifferent about it. I don't feel sad or happy. I just don't care. Yesterday, my mother-in-law and father-in-law joined us for dinner. As I was talking about some wedding stuff, mother-in-law pretty much confronted me and said, how can I be so happy and excited to plan a wedding while my sister-in-law is getting divorced? My fiance tried to intervene, but mother-in-law told him to shut up because he's a terrible brother who doesn't support his sister through those hard times. She also said I have no empathy for sister-in-law and I only care about my wedding and my stupid little dress. I told her I don't feel sorry that sister-in-law, the person who bragged about hating her husband and being in a loveless marriage, is getting divorced. She and her husband had it coming. I also won't feel sorry for someone who mocked my happiness and relationship. Mother-in-law said I'm very insensitive for saying this, and she expects an apology to her and my sister-in-law for this. She left after that and only told my fiance and me to call her if we wanted to apologize, and only then. Am I the idiot? Edit. They almost broke up 1 week before the wedding. That's all I'll say. Not the idiot. She left after that and told my fiance and me to call her if we want to apologize, and only then. So dramatic. Honestly sounds like a win to me. What was she expecting you to do? Hold off until sister-in-law found someone new? If ever? Oh no, wait. That probably was the goal. Enjoy the wedding planning in peace. I bet your sister-in-law and her ex-husband were the types of people to have a cake topper showing them fighting or being forced to marry with a ball and chain at his feet. Seeing happy couples should make you happy for them. If she can't see someone being happy and be thrilled for them because she's so focused on her misery, that's her loss. LOL, what? They're the ones who should apologize. You know what? You found the golden child and the scapegoat kid. You are not responsible for your sister-in-law's happiness over her marriage, especially with the attitude that you've described. Nor should you have to walk on eggshells over your own situation. Cut your losses, take comfort in the fact that you and your fiancé are on the same page with this, and only invite people that support you. I'm Irish. My husband is American. We met while he was on a lad's holiday to Ireland. I did the long-distance thing for a while, and eventually I moved to him so that we could build a life together. His parents were lovely, and his brothers and younger sister were both terrific. But the same cannot be said for his two older sisters. They're Annie and Marie. From almost the beginning, they fixated on the differences in names for everything, like how I'll say Manny for my mother, Nanny for my grandmother, and even saying granddad isn't a thing, LOL. Or they find it odd that I'll go to the shops instead of saying store. My husband has told them so many times about it, but they laugh it off and say that they're kidding. Giving out is another one of their fixations too. It just means telling someone off, but they act like it's so weird to say. It got worse after I gave birth to my husband's first child. So I announced myself as a mammy and shared photos on social media of Nanny and Granddad, my parents. Then they started joking that my family and I are so wealthy, we have nannies to raise the kids. Then joked that I sound like a racist child saying mammy. My husband's family was having a little party and they started up again. Everyone came to my defense, but I stepped up for the first time and called them out for the way that they mocked me. I told them they didn't have to like me. They didn't even have to like my culture, but the constant disrespect, masked as having a laugh, was going too far, and I didn't deserve it. I told them they were no better than schoolyard bullies. Of course, they couldn't believe I would say that, and they called me rude. The rest of the family didn't think so, but I admit the party was awkward afterward. This makes me feel bad because of the wear, and even the fact that I called them out when everyone else already was. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm so sorry. I can't believe how unbelievably rude, uncultured, ignorant, and uneducated they are. I'm American, and I apologize for the idiots in our country that seem to think the American way of speaking is the only way of speaking. Also, I love the way people from other countries say things. Going to the shop sounds way classier than going to the store. I'm so glad you spoke up for yourself and that you have the support of most of the family around you. Do not feel bad. Sounds to me like you should have done it a long time ago, but instead they show themselves as small-minded and ignorant of the world outside their bubble. They're being bullies because somehow they think cultural differences are harming them. I think the party was awkward after that because suddenly they had to see themselves through eyes that were not their own.